But that mid-credit scene though, hey guys, welcome back to Commentary TV. Today we are doing a review of Spider-Man Far From Home. I am a Marvel fan. If you didn't know, now you know. I did an Endgame review, but I promise that review will not be as in-depth as this one. I recently just watched the film, and I personally like to wait like a week, 2 weeks before I do any talking about it on social media, on YouTube, just to give fans a chance to watch without somebody like spoiling it, even though I'm sure by now there's spoilers everywhere, but not the point. Anyway, the beginning of this film, when the movie first started, I was like, is this the right film? Because you know Marvel movies have like a specific introduction, but I think it's Marvel licensed by Sony, so the beginning and the credits, the introduction, the production is like different, like to regular Marvel protocol per se. But I think my biggest like critique of this film comes from like the exposition of the film, because exposition in like stories and like plot development comes from, it's supposed to like set up the rest of the film, and this movie not only has to, the exposition in this film not only has to set up the rest of this movie, but it also has to explain like the effects and ramifications of like Endgame, Infinity War. Like it has to touch on so many things in such a little time. Like Endgame had to do the same thing. They had to like talk about life after Infinity War and how people are coping with it. But Endgame was a 3-hour film. They had about almost 45 minutes to like just do exposition, right? Whereas in this film, it's like only 10 to 15 minutes to explain everything and still set up this film. And to me, it was just a bit, not jarring, but I just felt like I was just getting a lot of like tidbits thrown at me as a viewer to somehow accommodate or explain everything. And I still had unanswered questions. I was going to the movie like, wait, what? I guess maybe the exposition just went over my head, like the explanation of everything. But watching this movie, I could completely understand that time is like a very weird construct in this film because of the blip that there's a whole 5-year thing. So some people are technically supposed to be 21, but they're only 16. It's just weird. Like it's like all of Spider-Man's OG classmates blipped, but then they have new classmates now because they didn't. It's just like time is really weird. And the reason why I say it's weird also is because in the first Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man was 15. He was after Liz. Now in this film, he's after MJ. But so many things have happened. I feel like I just feel like too many things have happened for it to be only a couple of months to transpire within that time. That's just me. The exposition was kind of jarring, but that's it. However, after we get into that, I feel like one of the other thing that I really appreciate about this film, well, this franchise, this interpretation of Spider-Man in general, is that they really allowed him to be like childlike and innocent. And that could be because Tom Holland himself is younger, so they were able to treat him younger, make him actually seem like a 16-year-old, especially with his pursuit of MJ. I found it to be very refreshing how innocent and like juvenile it was. It was really nice in comparison. It was refreshing in comparison to the other films, like with Toby and Andrew. Their understandings were different. I mean, Andrew was going after Gwen Stacy, so yeah, but I really appreciated how sweet and innocent his was. Even his voice, like the acting, Tom Holland just does a really good job at bringing life to Spider-Man. He makes him seem very like super excited to be a part of the world. Like, oh my god, I just wanna be like girl, like so cute. It's really cute, and it makes you feel like bubbling. Oh, it's so cute. Like I did see a lot of, oh my god, it's so cute through the film, because he really seems so like genuinely excited to be with like MJ and kind of have things to do. Okay, another thing, a major plot spoiler. Now if you are a fan of Marvel films, you would know, or just like comics or not graphic novels in a general, you would have pretty much guessed this spoiler. Like before I watched the movie, I knew that Mysterio was a bad guy. So even though the trailers kind of set him up to be good, I knew that it was a facade. And I feel like everybody knew that because he's a villain, but we just didn't know how he was going to be a villain. I was predicting it, I was expecting it, but it was done in a way where it still seemed logical, and it was like, oh, okay. However, I will say Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, an amazing villain. He does such a good job as a villain in this film. Like, first of all, that mid-credit scene, oh my god, oh, that I'm not saying, like, don't quote me, but I feel like that's probably one of the best mid-credit scenes in the MCU. Like, it had some, like, I was what? I was like, no, don't do it. I was like, like, I was just like, the movie was finished, and I was receiving the most palpitations in my chest during that, like, 1 minute, 2 minutes scene. I was like, oh my god, I hate him. Like, Mysterio was such a good villain, and I also love the end credit scene too. The end credit scene and like the ending of the film, because they alluded to how Peter Parker goes into journalism and taking photos. It kind of alludes to that a little bit when he's swinging and taking photos. He's swinging past like a news station, and then we get that special cameo from JJ, whatever his name is, at the end. That was really good, because now I could now see, like, in maybe the next Spider-Man film, how Spider-Man has to probably take his photos and go into the newsroom and, like, kind of make Spider-Man a good character. Now that kind of, because, you know, in the first two understandings of Spider-Man, that's something that Spider-Man had to do, and in this one it kind of alluded to that and kind of paved the way for that to happen. So that was great as well. But Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio is a really good villain. I'm not saying he's low-key level good, but I was like, wow, like, you know what it is to, like, he dead, but he causing all this trouble still, and I'm just like, wow, amazing. Other things to discuss, the dialogue. Like, for me, screenwriting is my personal, like, savvy. The dialogue in this film was good, excluding for those parts where, like, they're doing the explaining of, like, really simple things. The dialogue seems natural to each character, and obviously you have to give the actors credit for that. But there are often times when we watch teen movies, sometimes the dialogue supersedes, like, the teenage understanding. Like, it doesn't seem natural for the actors to be saying the things that they're saying, but everything felt right in context. Nothing felt beyond them, and it just felt really natural. However, I will say it could be because I like screenwriting, or I've seen so many of the films that I found the comedic timing or some of, like, the plot jokes to be a bit predictable. Like, there were times where I was saying some of the things before the actors said them. Like, I could predict that MJ was gonna start to peep at Peter when he started to take off his clothes. I could predict that Ned and his girlfriend Beth, or Beck, I think it's Beth, that they were gonna break up right when, like, there were certain things that I could predict, but it could just be, but it wasn't distasteful. It wasn't, like, in a bad way, but I could definitely predict some of the dialogue, but it was still natural to, like, high school behavior, or, like, tropes of high school behavior in film. So that's why it gets away. You can't talk about a Marvel film and not talk about the scoring. The scoring of this film is really good, because the movie is shot in so many different locations. The songs chosen were really good at establishing scenes and setting it up. And obviously the score, like, I don't know who like wrote the themes for this film, but I know Alan Silvestri, he did, like, the main Avengers themes. He did Portals for Endgame, which I really love that soundtrack, that instrumental. And the soundtrack in this film was really good, because they played Led Zeppelin songs. Like, they really made you, like, get this song selection overall was really good. And saying Led Zeppelin, it reminds me that even though Iron Man is dead, if you didn't know from Endgame, where have you been? This movie did a really good job at making Iron Man still feel very much alive. Like, even though he has no cameos or anything, you still feel like he's there, and you don't kind of miss him in a sense, because you actually feel like he's there. You're seeing him be reborn through, like, Peter in a way, like how he's moving, and it just pays perfect homage to like RDJ and Iron Man. It's just really good. I really appreciated that. Also too, like, you know, Instagram like chat rooms, they be like talking about different things, like how could you not notice this? I'm just like, how is everybody missing this really I'm a huge Captain America, so like I noticed there's a one scene where like Peter is like he's imitating like Captain America. Like he ran out of web, so he makes a makeshift hammer and a shield, and he's like swinging it, and that's like, and how he charges, and that's exactly how Cap charged in to meet Thanos in Endgame. And I don't know how did people miss that? Like he has the hammer swinging, and like it was just that probably made me swing. So I was like, oh, that's an Easter egg. How did people not see that? But I'm a Cap fan, so maybe that's why I noticed it. The locations are great. It's shot in Europe, so it was really refreshing to be out of America. I'm tired of seeing America and the Times Square buildings. I'm just tired of seeing like in every superhero film, so it was refreshing to see them in a new part of the world, and it got to like some really nice locations as well. The humor was good in this film. The scoring is great. The CGI in this one is good. I know the CGI in the unreleased footage, well, in the re-release footage of Endgame, was not the best, but the CGI in this film looks really good. I feel like the mid-credit scene is probably one of the best. Like I left the theater so not angry, but angry. Like I was like, how could he? What? Like that was me during the end, that mid-credit scene. I was like, oh my heart. It's just a lot. Like I said, probably one of the best end credit scenes in the MCU. I mean, Mysterio's powers, I swear to y'all, there was some times I was like, oh my gosh, this is Inception. This is superhero Inception. This is exactly what it is. Like, like it was just a lot. And the Spidey tingles coming through in the end, and yeah, I know that still Spider-Man is just a boy, but like his fighting has improved greatly from his earlier Civil War days, and like you really see him becoming like owning more of who he is toward the ending of the film, walking in his power. Like even though he's like a 16-year-old guy next to Mysterio, who is however much old, it still feels like he holds his own, like he's an equal opponent. Like you don't feel bad for him. Like it's just a really good job. Like the actors do a really good job of bringing these characters to life. Overall, I would give this movie a solid 9 out of 10, strong recommend. And the only reason it doesn't get a 10 out of 10 because I don't feel like any movie is completely perfect. One, and two, like those expository scenes and clips, I just felt they could have been done a bit more naturally. They seemed a bit too abrupt and abrasive, or maybe things just went over my head and I missed it. But honestly, I feel like the movie was really good, really refreshing. When the movie ends the first time prior to the mid-credit, you just feel really good. You're at ease, you're at peace, you're like, yes. But that mid-credit scene though, oh my god, it's just honestly probably one of the best in the MCU. I'm not even kidding, it's really good. And then the post-credit scene, I'm like, wow, Marvel got becoming good, because they already set you up. It was really good, really good. And I'm very intrigued to see how Spider-Man is gonna come out now, considering that guys, Mysterio I have nothing else to say. Like I said, solid 9 out of 10. Anything I've said before still stands. And yeah, I want to know what you guys thought about the movie. Any Easter eggs you noticed that I missed? You agree with something I said? You disagree? Let me know your opinions. I just love talking about Marvel films. Let me know in the comment section. Comment something. Let me know what other movie you want me to see or talk about. It could be another Marvel film or any film in general. Down below and in the end card, I will leave my review of Endgame as well as other movies that I would recommend watching for like summertime or just in general. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until the next one, you guys have been watching Charismatic TV. Until next time.